Hello, I'm Joshua Joroge Garuya, a retired church minister. You can call me Van Garuya, as I appear on my website and my Facebook. Thank you for clicking on my channel. I am delighted to have this opportunity to talk with you. Now, in my retirement, I have chosen to spend the rest of my beautiful, energetic, best years in passing on what I have learned for many years. I've read daily, researching and focusing on the study of human potential development and spiritual transformation. It has been an exciting journey to explore what life in and with God entails. The most important experience is that the whole internet world is on my desk. I can Google all over except perhaps for the language. If such man-made work is so massive, how much so is God in the whole universe? If you have been watching the last 4 video talks, this is my last one on this cluster, which is the 4th principle, carrying the title An Assurance and Conscious Realization of God's Ever-Empowering Presence working in you and with you. Now, there are 2 threads in the Bible that presents the way God is manifested to humanity. They may appear to contradict each other, but they work as a paradox. The first one, which we have read and preached about most, is that God who is in heaven is far from the earth and his people. To an extent, he has to come down. This is the oldest perception since the fall of Adam. That is why we read of people creating idols to represent what they think of God, who they did not know. This tradition also presents God in human perception. He has hands, he has ears, feet, and is temperamental. When he comes to people, he is represented by the angels, as we read in the Old Testament. The tradition of our God in heaven, that is, the transcendent God, has cut across to today. On the extreme end, this perception has made many people doubt the existence of God, as I think of a God who created and left the creation to suffer. Many have drawn God to the human level to an extent they will make their way of life that appeals to them to be what God desires of them. This goes on and on. It appears to me this is the perpetual problem of humanity, since even the writers and the translators of the Bible have contributed to it. In our daily talk, we are inclined to think with the perception of this first thread. Many a times, to an extent, even though we say God is watching, we see him far. I call this anthropomorphic view. The way we as human beings generally conceptualize God. As I have said, God is presented as having a replica of human body and some behavior like getting angry and so on. We shall come to learn about Jesus Christ later. Now, there is the other thread which refers to God as Emmanuel, God with us, as the passage of my interest reads from Joshua chapter 1 verse 9b. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And I repeat, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. God with us is a thread I love to follow. This is the subject of my talk here. On this count, I shall make 2 observations, one following science and the other theology. First of all, I have particular interest with what science is offering to help understand more about God who is everywhere. Now, imagine you want to travel to one of the stars that we see afar. It will take you about 41 trillion kilometers or 4.3 light years to reach there. Then if you were to travel to all the stars one by one, it will take you eternity. The distance is enormous and unimaginable. You can only call it infinite or eternity. There are clusters of billions of stars science just calls galaxy. Astronomers so far have estimated that the observable universe has more than 100 billion galaxies. Can you imagine these are all moving in harmony with all beauty and splendor? They display a force or being behind the harmony. For where there is no being of harmony, there is disorder. For us, this is God working behind and with their harmonized, beautiful order. This is why it is called universe. I do not intend to pursue the many arguments talked about over the years. All I can say is that the harmony, the beauty, and the life manifest a being that is God. The psalmist in chapter 19 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork." I love the word glory, which in essence means the highest level of beauty, harmony, unity, and life. Something wonderful to behold. Our nearest star is the sun, and the earth moves around the sun. Science also tells us that the earth is part of the universe. We have imagined through the perception of our eyes and minds that the earth is a separate entity from the rest of the universe. Science does not say that. Do you remember the earlier conception that the earth is flat until science told us it is round, and today we have accepted this fact through experience when we go around the world? We also see stars so small, not realizing the farther away from our eyes, the smaller the object appears. You remember I said it is 41 trillion kilometers. This is provable, as we know, the size of the Boeing aeroplane, which appears like a bird when we see it about only 10 kilometers away in the air. What I'm driving at is that the God who is fully in the universe is also fully on earth. He is perpetually where you are. Jeremiah sums this up well when he wrote, "Am I a God near at hand, says the Lord, and not a God afar off? Can anyone hide himself in secret places, so I shall not see him, says the Lord? Do I not feel heaven and earth?" Get that? Do I not feel heaven and earth, says the Lord? That is from Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 23. And I have particular interest in the latter bit of verse 24. Do I not feel heaven and earth? This is the best theology, in tune with the science. Coming to theology, we learn that God is everywhere, all-powerful, all-knowing, Emmanuel, God with us, God Almighty, and a host of beautiful names we have attributed to God. For example, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Nisi, and so on. Allow me to take you on a path that is fully true but not so much used. I want to talk about the Emmanuel understanding, or the divine approach, as opposed to the anthropomorphic I mentioned earlier. The Bible teaches us that we are created in the image of God, as we read in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 through to 28. That means you and I have an element of God in us. We are like a small drop of water from an extremely huge ocean. Just as the drop contains the substance of the ocean, so being the image of God, we have the substance of God in our inner being, which is dormant and need to be awakened by God. This is what Jesus came for. I shall discuss this further in some other video talk. My concern here is to elaborate the theme of this particular video, which I repeat again, an assurance and conscious realization of God's ever-empowering presence working in you and with you. To illustrate this, I'd like to bring in some experiences common to people today which came to my mind. The internet. While preparing my work on the website and YouTube, I had to browse many tutorials and have come across some interesting ones, not necessarily related with what I'm searching for. Some bring good ideas, which I keep in my mind or write down, then disappear. I'm not able to locate them if I do not note the source. Is this not the way ideas come to our minds and go, never to be remembered if we do not pay much attention to them? I have learned that there is massive information, good or bad, on the internet for everything all that one is looking for. I have the whole world on my desk. This is the power of the search engine optimization, SEO, as we see it on the internet. They organize all the information posted and bring it out when you write the relevant blog and click. As I reflected on this massive human work on the earth, controlled by man-made satellites, it came to my mind that there is a higher source of this massive information, even beyond the earth, with a thread that brings about every good provision to humanity when they seek and appropriate them. Would you imagine that God is manifesting through people even when they purport not to know or recognize His guidance on the matter? These people are invoking the higher power of mind, that is, using God's divine laws to communicate to the whole humanity. Scientists talk of ether, a substance that holds the whole universe. With it, the true knowledge and wisdom of God is manifested. We find the psalmist saying in Psalm 111 verse 2, "The works of the Lord are great, studied by all who have pleasure in them." So what scientists do is recorded in the Bible, though in a thin way. We often miss it. His divine presence is ever with the people. The writer of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 10 to 11 wrote, "I've seen the God-given task with which the sons of men are to be occupied. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, He has put eternity in their hearts, except that no one can find out the work that God does from beginning to end." Of course, when you think of the stars in eternity, then it is not easy for man. Scientists continue finding out and they propose many things. But the Bible tells us that God has everything we need in store for us to enjoy, and that's the whole truth. The most interesting paradox among human beings is that there are those who have chosen to follow the righteous way in some particular conceptions and beliefs, but do not get what they desire when they pray for it, while those others, by chance of following their particular divine law, succeed. They usually call it the universal law, but it's the same thing. The fact of the matter is this, and I illustrate. Suppose you are a good person, trusting God and so on. You plant your seeds on unprepared ground and fail to do what is required to achieve what you want, but expecting God to do a miracle. And the evil person digs and prepares the ground well and plants seed properly and manages the needful. Because you give rain to the good and the evil, as Jesus said, who do you think will get the harvest? The divine laws are for everyone. I'm interested with the fact that we have the potential to receive what we desire when it is in tune with God. I will explain this further. Going back to the internet analogy, I find the system will give me the answer as I have requested. If I write wrong words or thought, I will not get what I have asked for, but something else or none at all. In the same way, we receive from God in the way we ask. I've often referred to Jesus' teaching with a question: what man is there among you? If his son asks for bread, will he give him a stone? Now, bread is what you want, and the stone is what you do not want. Yet you find many Christians, when praying, will spend time narrating the problems in details and repeat to an extent what they want is narrowly mentioned. No wonder the answer is confused, just like the question. And we get tired in the end in our prayers. My take is this: ask what you want and do not narrate the problems. Your Father knows. This follows the divine law. Ask and it will be given to you. Definite of purpose is very critical in receiving divine provision. I'd like to give you yet another illustration. In my house, or in this room for that matter, which is my study, there is electricity power, just like yours. I have put a lot of it here in this studio. I just need to have a good gadget, be a TV, computer, mobile, and so on, and plug it in. I shall get the results according to the gadget I plug in. But if it is not working, would I blame the power and complain of its existence? No, I would get the gadget repaired or buy another good one. In the same way, you need to, so to speak, plug in to the divine presence properly, or for that matter, get connected properly. There is a law to be followed. I am emphasizing here following the law as opposed to being good to get the results you want. The secret is you cannot get maximum result unless you follow the full, balanced, and harmonious law of God. You know, I talked about it in the previous video. A rich man may have followed a law which made him rich, and I'm not referring to the corrupt one. Even so, because of the force of other laws he did not obey or follow, he may not enjoy the fruit of his work fully. He may have a lot of money, but is sickly or in conflict with others, which denies him peace and enjoyment of his goods. By the way, you know what I'm talking about divine law. You may have to refresh your memory, but watching that previous video, as I have referred to, the 8 key divine laws. Going back to the reading of Ecclesiastes, eternity in man therefore means adherence to God's divine order of bringing things in creation as God intended and planned. This is an area I love thinking about. I have referred above about getting connected to the internet and so on. I like to affirm strongly that God's divine presence is with us all time to eternity. For you to get the life in abundance, the secret is not to look outside of yourself. Rather, it is going, as Jesus said, to your secret life. That is your heart, your inner man. Therein we shall get connected. I've often felt that there is always a divine impulse which works as an intuition in form of a thought or idea, which is meant to lead you to the fulfillment of your desires. The reason why it feels difficult is because the presence of God is felt in quietness. Be still and know that I am God. Those moments when we take time to get in tune with Him. It is like trying to tune on a FM radio or even TV channel. You need to tune the channel you want patiently as you wade your way through many other channels that are interfering. A patient, sustaining turning round the knob and the area you make you get the channel or station you are looking for. I have often found this with a channel called Hope FM. It disappears because there are other noises, but slowly you get it. This is the same with tuning to God. To illustrate this, an elderly lady wanted to meet God. She struggled searching for the process. Finally, on inquiring from a young church minister who casually advised her to go in her room, clean it first, and wait. She did it and sat on her armchair, quietly knitting her pullover. It was very quiet. After some time, she felt a presence and recognized it as the presence of God. We need this many times. Let me extend this story by saying house cleaning of the heart, which we can only also call mind cleaning of unwanted elements such as anxiety, worries, fear, intimidation, and related challenges, is vital for experiencing this divine presence. You cannot go to have the divine presence when your heart or mind is so noisy with the cares of the world. House cleaning also means putting in new things. There is no vacuum. You build trust, confidence, and a sense of direction. By so doing, you are able to see or know the potential you have. Now, I may not exhaust this subject or divine presence here, but I shall bring it up in the upcoming video talks on this platform. Keep an eye. Thank you for watching. Please click your like, comment, and subscribe below. Please also share this with friends. I also request you to visit my website, jabezphilosophy.org, to support this video teaching ministry by giving you your generous donation. Please visit my website. You can see it on the screen, and it will appear on my video, that arrow which points down to explain the details about the video. When you visit it, go to the PayPal payment or my M-Pesa phone number and do the needful. It is called YouTube Ministry Support. I am working out the way to place these videos for free downloading on my website. Meanwhile, I look forward to your viewing next week. Welcome and God bless you.